Welcome to Evening Vespers, everyone. We join our siblings in faith across time, tradition, and around the world as we gather to mark the end of this day. Let's leave behind the busyness of the last hours and bring our attention and our intention to this time together. Let us seek rest and find rest in the hours that follow, that we may wake tomorrow to a new and blessed day. Our service will be approximately 30 minutes in length and includes music, readings, and intentional silence. We will light our symbolic candle of community to hold our collective intentions and prayers, and we invite you too to light candles as you wish and as you are able, that you may participate in any way that works for you. The sun sets tonight at 8:13. The tide is low one more time just before 11, and our moon is in a new first quarter. Let this evening fall gently, and let us go into this good night together. I invite you to light a candle representing a chalice or your chalice, or to symbolically share the lighting of our chalice. And we'll repeat our words as we know them or as we're learning them. In the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, we gather this day. May the flame we now kindle be to us a symbol of the holiness we seek.
Here is our first reading. It's from a chapter called The Practice of Getting Lost, in a book by Barbara Brown Taylor called An Altar in the World. The chapter offers the imagery of cows who travel the same beaten path from one end of the pasture to the other, suggesting that we humans have similar tendencies, but that perhaps there is something to be gained from stepping outside the path of least resistance, or something to be learned when that experience is imposed on us. She writes, "In my life, I have lost my way more times than I can count. I have set out to be married and ended up divorced. I've set out to be healthy and ended up sick. I've set out to live in New England and ended up in Georgia. When I was 30, I set out to be a parish priest. Almost 30 years later, I teach school. I have found things while I was lost that I might never have discovered if I stayed on the path. I've lived through parts of life that no one in her right mind would ever willingly choose. So I have decided to stop fighting the prospect of getting lost and engage it as a spiritual practice instead. You can get lost on your way home. You can get lost looking for love. You can get lost between jobs. You can get lost looking for God. However it happens, take heart. Others before you have found a way in the wilderness where there are as many angels as there are wild beasts, and plenty of other lost people too. All it takes is one of them to find you. All it takes is you to find one of them. However it happens, you could do worse than to kneel down and ask a blessing, remembering how many knees have kissed this altar before you." Let's take a moment in silence to contemplate these words.
Friends, will you join me for a moment of meditation? We are living with an ever greater awareness of the altar that is our world. Cast out of the homes that have been our literal sanctuaries, we are being called to see the mysteries and the holy everywhere we look, and to seek it as sustenance when we are grieving. Spirit of life and love, of cow paths and no paths, of losing, of being lost, and of finding our way. Help us to remember that each hour is a blessing, a gift unearned, regardless of its challenge. Help us to remember that then was then, in all its joy and its sorrow, and that this is now. We must live into it, and it is good. Rumi asks us this question: why, when God's world is so big, did you fall asleep in a prison of all places? Spirit, help us not to be bound by our own fears and limitations. Help us to know our capacity for freedom in the world that is so big, so awesome, as to give us room to move from one path to another and in between, traveling the unknown, always in gratitude, always in love. Let's spend a few more moments in silence together. Our second reading is Everything is Going to Be All Right by Derek Mahan. How should I not be glad to contemplate the clouds clearing beyond the dormer window and a high tide reflected on the ceiling? There will be dying, but there is no need to go into that. The poems flow from the hand unbidden, and the hidden source is the watchful heart. The sun rises in spite of everything, and the far cities are beautiful and bright. I lie here in a riot of sunlight, watching the day break and the clouds flying. Tell you this: everything is going to be all right. Friends, will you join us in singing our next hymn? It's number 1031 if you have a teal hymn book near you, but it's called Filled with Loving Kindness. I think you'll pick it up quickly. Let's sing together.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving loving kindness. May you be well, may you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole. May we be whole. May we be whole.
Let's extinguish our chalice and share our extinguishing words as we know them and as we are learning them. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Our benediction is by the Reverend Angela Herrera. Don't leave your broken heart at the door. Bring it to the altar of life. Don't leave your anger behind. It has high standards, and the world needs vision. Bring them with you, and your joy and your passion. Bring your loving and your courage and your conviction. Bring your need for healing and your power to heal. There is work to do, and you have all that you need to do it right here in this room. Blessed be and amen.